Just when we thought tensions in the West Philippine Sea might finally be cooling down, a bombshell was dropped at the Manila Dialogue. Imagine this: diplomats, experts, and military officials from across the globe gathered, hoping for a breakthrough. Instead, the world watched as China's delegation publicly declared that they have no jurisdiction over the 2016 Hague ruling. That's right, they essentially just tried to erase a landmark international legal decision. The room fell silent. But that silence was quickly broken by a response from the Philippines that no one saw coming. This wasn't just another diplomatic statement. This was a declaration of strength that could reshape the future of the entire region. So, what exactly happened at this high-stakes dialogue? And how did the Philippines manage to turn a moment of potential crisis into a display of national resolve? Stick around, because we're about to break down every critical detail of this geopolitical showdown. All right, let's set the scene. The Manila Dialogue, held on November 7, 2025, was supposed to be a platform for constructive conversation. Organized by the Philippines, it brought together key players from ASEAN: the United States, Australia, Japan, and of course, China. The goal was to discuss maritime security, cooperation, and de-escalation in the South China Sea. Hopes were cautiously optimistic. For the first 2 days, things seemed to be on the right track. Experts were sharing research, officials were having side meetings, and there was a general atmosphere of progress. Then came the final plenary session. The head of China's National Institute for South China Sea Studies, or NISCSS, took the podium. Everyone expected the usual rhetoric about historical rights and joint development. But what they delivered was far more provocative. In front of a packed auditorium, the Chinese delegates stated, and I quote, "Regarding the 2016 South China Sea arbitration, it is a matter of established fact that China has no jurisdiction and finds the ruling illegal and void." You could feel the air leave the room. This wasn't just repeating their old position. This was a direct public challenge at a forum designed for cooperation. They were essentially telling the Philippines and the world that a foundational piece of international law, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, didn't apply to them. It was a calculated power play designed to intimidate and undermine the very basis of the dialogue. The move sent shockwaves through the delegations. The U.S. and ASEAN representatives looked visibly stunned. The question on everyone's mind was, how would the Philippines respond? Would they back down? Would they issue a weak protest? This is where the story takes a turn. Instead of a flustered or angry reaction, the Philippine Secretary of Foreign Affairs calmly walked to the microphone. The atmosphere was incredibly tense. He started not by attacking, but by reaffirming. He began, "International law is not a menu from which nations can pick and choose. The 2016 arbitral award is final, binding, and is now part of the established legal order of the oceans." He didn't stop there. He then presented a newly declassified dossier, complete with satellite imagery and communications intercepts, detailing China's recent activities near Pogesa Island, including the construction of what appeared to be new monitoring outposts, all within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. This was the first retention spike. He wasn't just talking about a legal ruling from years ago. He was connecting it to concrete, present-day actions. He laid out the evidence, piece by piece, showing a clear pattern of behavior that directly contradicted China's claims of peaceful intentions. Now, think about this for a second. This reminds me of a classic scene from the movie A Few Good Men. You have one side, powerful and unyielding, declaring you can't handle the truth. But then, the other side, armed not with just passion, but with cold, hard evidence, says, "Oh, we can handle it." The question is, can you? That's exactly what the Philippines did. They didn't just argue the law, they presented the facts. They showed the world the discrepancy between China's words and its actions. This wasn't just a response, it was a masterclass in modern diplomacy, using transparency as a weapon. The message was clear. We see what you're doing, and we will not be silent. The international reaction was swift and powerful. The U.S. State Department issued a statement within hours, condemning China's disregard for international law and reaffirming its ironclad commitment to the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty. But what was truly significant was the ASEAN response. Historically, ASEAN has struggled to maintain a unified front on this issue due to China's influence. But this time was different. The chairperson of ASEAN released a statement, backed by a majority of member states, expressing grave concern and calling for all parties to respect the 1982 UNCLOS. This was a major diplomatic win for the Philippines. For years, China has used a divide-and-conquer strategy within ASEAN. By presenting such a clear-cut case and taking a strong, principled stand, the Philippines made it much harder for other nations to stay on the sidelines. They effectively rallied a coalition of the willing right there on the conference floor. Now, some of you might be wondering, what's next? Will this lead to conflict? Well, that's the billion-dollar question. And if you're finding this analysis valuable, hitting that like button really helps the channel reach more people who care about these critical global issues. The immediate aftermath is a significant increase in what's called gray zone activities. We're talking about more than just Coast Guard standoffs. The Philippine response has triggered a new phase. Now, this is the second retention spike. The Philippines didn't just stop at the diplomatic counterpunch. They announced Operation Sentinel, a joint initiative with the United States and Australia, involving continuous coordinated air and naval patrols across the entire West Philippine Sea. This isn't just a military exercise, it's a persistent presence. The goal is to document and deter any illegal activities in real time, creating a constant and undeniable record. It's a strategy of assertive transparency, making it impossible for incursions to go unnoticed or be denied later. This brings us to a crucial point about how international relations work. It's not always about grand declarations, but about the slow, methodical process of building norms and enforcing rules. Think of it like a neighborhood watch. If someone keeps walking across your lawn, you can complain about it, or you can build a fence, install a camera, and have your neighbors agree that lawns are for owners, not for shortcuts. The Philippines, with its allies, is building that fence and installing those cameras. They are reinforcing the legal victory of 2016 with tangible on-the-ground, or rather, on-the-water action. And this is where we see the brilliance of their long-term strategy. It's not about provoking a fight. It's about making the cost of breaking the rules too high. But what about the economic side? China is a massive trading partner for the Philippines and the entire ASEAN region. This is where the strategy gets even more interesting. The Philippine government simultaneously announced a new Blue Economy Investment Summit, specifically inviting nations that have publicly supported the 2016 ruling. This is the third retention spike. It's a bold move that links maritime security directly to economic prosperity. The message is simple. If you respect international law and support a rules-based order at sea, you are our preferred partner for developing our vast marine resources from sustainable fishing to offshore energy. This creates a powerful economic incentive for countries to align with the Philippines. It turns the narrative from one of risk and conflict to one of opportunity and partnership. It's not just about defense, it's about building a future where respect for the law leads to shared prosperity. This multi-pronged approach, legal affirmation, evidence-based diplomacy, enhanced security presence, and economic incentives is the core of the Philippines' new assertive posture. They've learned that you can't just win in the courtroom. You have to win in the court of public opinion and on the sea itself. China's declaration of no jurisdiction was meant to be a show of strength, a way to shut down the conversation. Instead, it backfired. It gave the Philippines the perfect platform to demonstrate its own strength, not the strength of a global superpower, but the strength of a nation armed with the law, the truth, and a growing coalition of international partners. They didn't just respond to a challenge, they seized the opportunity to rewrite the rules of engagement. So, In the end, what did China achieve with its bombshell declaration? It managed to isolate itself, strengthen the U.S.-Philippines alliance, and, most importantly, galvanize a more unified ASEAN stance. The Manila Dialogue of 2025 will be remembered not for China's rejection of the law, but for the Philippines' powerful and strategic defense of it. It's a lesson for middle-power countries everywhere that with a smart strategy, courage, and international partnership, you can stand up to giants. The West Philippine Sea remains a contested area, and the journey ahead is long and complex. But after this dialogue, the path forward is clearer, and the resolve of those defending a free and open Indo-Pacific is stronger than ever. This entire episode shows that the future of the West Philippine Sea won't be decided by threats or intimidation, but by resilience, strategy, and the unwavering commitment to a rules-based international order. If you want to stay updated on these developments and understand the deeper geopolitical currents shaping our world, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next report.